Captain Lee Time-in pressed his palm against the cool metal railing of the bridge, feeling the gentle vibration of the massive engines that had carried them across the void for 18 months. The New Dawn asterisk was humanity's greatest achievement too. Kilometers of gleaming steel and hope, carrying 50,000 sleeping souls toward their new home among the stars. The observation deck stretched before him like a cathedral of glass and steel. Through the transparent aluminum windows, the Kepler 440 system grew larger with each passing hour. 3 planets orbited the orange dwarf star, and one of them, Kepler 442b, would soon become humanity's second world. The colonists had nicknamed it New Eden during the planning phases back on Earth. Captain, the morning status report shows all systems green, called out Park So-young from her navigation console. She was young for such an important position, barely 28, but her brilliant mind had earned her the spot after graduating top of her class from the Seoul Space Academy. Her fingers danced across holographic displays showing their trajectory and ship status. Lee Time-in smiled, remembering his own first deep space mission 15 years ago. Back then, humanity had barely managed to establish lunar colonies. Now, they were reaching for the stars themselves. How long until we reach orbital insertion? 14 hours, 32 minutes, sir, Park So-young replied, her voice filled with the same excitement that had carried them all through the long journey. The colonists will start waking up in 6 hours. The bridge buzzed with quiet activity. Communications Officer Choi Min-ho monitored signals from Earth. Though the messages now took over 12 years to reach them, Dr. Yoon Hae-jin worked at the science station, analyzing the spectral data from their destination planet. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. That's when the first warning light appeared. Park So-young frowned at her console as a yellow indicator began blinking. Captain, I'm seeing some minor fluctuations in the FTL drive resonance chamber, probably just residual energy discharge from a jump. Lee Time-in nodded. After traveling faster than light for months, some system variations were normal. Quantum field generators needed time to stabilize after such an enormous journey. But something nagged at the back of his mind, a feeling he'd learned to trust during his years in space. Run a full diagnostic anyway, he ordered. Better safe than sorry with 50,000 lives aboard. Minutes passed. Then Park So-young's expression changed from mild concern to genuine worry. Sir, the fluctuations are increasing, and now I'm seeing anomalies in the life support systems. 2. Oxygen recycling is operating at 92% efficiency instead of the normal 98. Before Lee Time-in could respond, the bridge doors hissed open and Chief Engineer Kim Woo-jin burst through. His usually neat uniform was wrinkled, and sweat beaded on his forehead despite the ship's perfect climate control. Kim had been working on the New Dawn since the first hull plates were welded together in Earth orbit. If anyone knew this ship, it was him. Captain, we have a serious problem, Kim announced, his voice cutting through the bridge's calm atmosphere like a plasma torch. I've been running diagnostics for the past 3 hours. And what I'm finding doesn't make sense. Lee Time-in turned to face his chief engineer. Explain. Kim activated the main display screen, showing a complex web of ship systems rendered in 3 dimensions. Red warning indicators pulsed throughout the display like infected wounds. These aren't random failures, sir. Someone has systematically corrupted our quantum matrix. The navigation computers have been infected with some kind of virus that's literally eating through our star charts. Our backup systems are failing in a coordinated pattern. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Sabotage and humanities. First interstellar colony mission. Park So-young's voice was barely a whisper. That's impossible. The ship was in sealed construction for 3 years, security clearances, background checks, constant monitoring, unless Dr. Yoon Hae-jin spoke up from her science station, her face pale but determined. unless someone or something got aboard that we never detected, something that could hide among us. Learn our systems and strike when we were most vulnerable, as if summoned by her words, the bridge lights flickered, once, twice, then began strobing in an irregular pattern that made everyone's skin crawl. Emergency klaxons started wailing throughout the ship, a sound none of them had ever heard outside of training drills. Choi Minho's fingers flew across his communications ray. Trying to isolate the source of the system failures, his expertise in signal processing had earned him recognition throughout the fleet. But now his face showed pure confusion. "Captain, I'm detecting something strange in our own data streams. There's a signal piggyback riding on our internal communications. Can you decode it? Working on it now, sir." Choi Minho's brow furrowed in concentration as he ran the alien signal through every translation protocol in their database. After several tense minutes, his face went white. "Sir, it's not in any human language, but I've managed a rough translation, using pattern analysis." He looked up, his voice shaking. "It says, lesser species must learn their place among the stars." The bridge fell silent except for the wailing alarms. Through the observation windows, the stars no longer looked welcoming. They looked cold and hostile, filled with intelligences that saw humanity as nothing more than upstart primitives who had dared to leave their home world. That's when the New Dawn shuddered. The familiar vibration of the engine suddenly stopped, replaced by a sickening weightlessness that made everyone's stomach lurch. The ship's artificial gravity fluctuated, causing loose objects to float momentarily before crushing back down. "FTL drive is offline," Park So-young reported, her training overriding her fear. "We're dropping out of hyperspace." The main display showed their position as the ship tumbled back into normal space-time. They were between stars now, in the cold empty void, with the nearest solar system months away at conventional speeds, the asterisk knew. Dawn drifted powerless, its engine silent, 50,000 human live trapped in a metal tomb that was slowly dying round them. Lee Taiman gripped the railing harder, his knuckles white. Somewhere out there in the galaxy, an alien species called the Velkar Syndicate had just delivered their message with brutal clarity. Humanity was not welcome among the stars, and they would make sure no human colony ship ever reached its destination. But they had made one. Critical mistake. They had left the crew alive, and humans were most dangerous when cornered. The emergency lighting cast airy red shadows across the New Dawn's corridors as Dr. Yoon Hae-jin led her inspection team th. Rough the dying ship. Their footsteps echoed. In the unusual silence without the constant hum of the engines, every sound seemed amplified and threatening. The ship's main computer had estimated they had maybe 72 hours of emergency power left before life support failed completely. Section C7 shows complete system failure, reported her assistant, Lee Min-seo, reading from a handheld scanner. "The quantum processors are literally melting from the inside out. I've never seen anything like it." Dr. Yoon Hae-jin knelt beside an access panel that had been torn open by the cascading failures. Inside, what should have been neat rows of crystalline processors now looked like abstract art, twisted metal and silicon that pulsed with an alien energy signature. She carefully extracted a sample with insulated tools, noting how the material seemed to resist her efforts. "This isn't just sabotage," she muttered, studying the corrupted circuitry. "This is something far more sophisticated. The alien virus isn't just destroying our systems, it's rewriting them according to its own design." 3 decks below, Security Chief Dong Du-hyun was discovering the full extent of their predicament. His security teams had been conducting deck-by-deck sweeps, looking for any trace of how the sabotage had been accomplished. What they found was far worse than anyone had imagined. "Captain, You need to see this. Zhang Duhyun's voice crackled over the comm system. We've found evidence of infiltration. In the manufacturing bay, Li Taimin made his way through the ship's darkened corridors, emergency lights flickering as power systems struggled to maintain basic operations. The manufacturing bay was located in the ship's lowest section, originally designed to produce tools and equipment for the colony. Now it looked like a war zone. Twisted metal sculptures sat where precision manufacturing equipment should have been. But these weren't random destruction, they were clearly purposeful constructions, alien. In design and function, some of the structures pulsed with the same energy signature Dr. Yoon Haijin had found in the corrupted processes. Whatever did this was aboard our ship for months, Zhang Duhan explained. His voice grim. It studied our technology, learned our systems, and then systematically replaced key components with these things. Kim Woo-jin arrived at the bay just as Li Taimin was examining one of the alien constructs. The chief engineer's face went pale as he recognized what they were looking at. "These are manufacturing templates," he whispered. "Someone was using our own equipment to build sabotage devices. But the metal composition, this alloy doesn't exist in our periodic table." The senior staff meeting that followed was the most somber in the ship's history. They gathered in the auxiliary conference room since the main briefing area had lost power. Emergency lanterns provided the only light, casting dancing shadows on faces etched with worry and determination. Dr. Yoon Haijin spread her findings across the table, twisted components, corrupted data crystals and readings that defied human understanding. The sabotage goes deeper than we initially thought. The alien virus has infected our core systems at the quantum level. Every backup we try to activate just gets corrupted within minutes. How long do we have, Li Taimin asked, quietly. "Maybe 60 hours before complete life support failure," Dr. Yoon Haijin replied. "But that's assuming the virus doesn't accelerate its spread. It seems to be learning, adapting to our countermeasures faster than we can implement them." Kim Woo-jin slammed his fist on the metal table, the sound echoing through the small room like a gunshot. "Then we don't fight it conventionally. We can't repair what's been corrupted, so we rebuild everything from the ground up." Security Chief Tang Duhan shook his head skeptically. "With what materials? We are not a construction ship. We don't have the industrial capacity to rebuild critical systems." Li Taimin stood up slowly, his mind racing through possibilities that would have seemed insane just days before. "We cannibalize the ship itself. We have 50,000 cryopods that won't be needed if we're all dead, agricultural decks full of processing equipment, entire residential sections with power conduits and structural materials. You're talking about tearing apart a 2-kilometer starship and rebuilding it while we're living in sea." "Diet," Zhang Duhan protested. "In vacuum, with limited power and failing life support." "Yes," Li Taimin replied simply. "Because the alternative is dying quietly in the dark." The work began immediately. Kim Woo-jin organized his engineering teams into round-the-clock shifts, working 18 hours on, 6 hours rest. They started by stripping non-essential systems from the residential decks, lighting fixtures, furniture, decorative panels, anything that contained useful materials or components. Dr. Yoon Haijin set up a research lab in the ship's observation lounge, studying samples of the alien virus under makeshift conditions. She worked by the light of emergency lanterns, using handheld scanners and improvised testing equipment. What she discovered changed everything. The virus isn't just destroying our systems, she announced during a late-night briefing. It's trying to build something. Every corrupted component follows the same basic pattern. It's like a construction template encoded at the quantum level. "Construction template for what?" Kim Woo-jin asked, taking a break from welding salvaged hull plates together into new structural supports. I think it's trying to turn our ship into something else. Something alien, but it's incomplete. It needs more time or more resources to finish the transformation. Kim Woo-jin's eyes lit up with a dangerous gleam. Then we beat it to the punch. We use their own virus as a foundation and build something they never expected. The next few weeks transformed the New Dawn into a construction zone unlike anything in human history. Crews worked in pressurized suits, tearing apart their beautiful colony ship and rebuilding it into something entirely new. They salvaged power conduits from the agricultural decks and rewired them through the ship's superstructure. Cryopod components became parts of a new life support system that could adapt to changing conditions. Park So-young coordinated the massive project from an improvised command center built from salvaged bridge components. She tracked thousands of work details, managed resource allocation, and somehow kept track of which systems were operational at any given moment. Her navigation expertise proved invaluable in mapping the ship's changing internal layout. The most dangerous work fell to the external repair teams. They worked in the cold vacuum of space, tethered to the ship by safety lines and powered by portable life support backpacks. Choi Min-ho led many of these teams. His communications expertise essential for coordinating work across the ship's massive hull. We've got the new quantum matrix online, Kim Woo-jin reported after 3 weeks of backbreaking labor. It's not like anything in our original designs, but it's stable. The alien virus actually seems to be helping now, like it's been reprogrammed to work with us instead of against us. Dr. Yoon Hae-jin nodded from a research station. Surrounded by alien components and human technology that had been merged in ways that should have been impossible, I've been able to reverse engineer parts of the virus code. It's incredibly sophisticated, more advanced than anything we've ever encountered. But now that we understand its basic structure, we can guide its evolution. As the 4th week ended, the New Dawn bore little resemblance to the elegant colony ship that had left Earth. Its hull was covered in a patchwork of salvaged materials and alien constructs that pulsed with bioluminescent energy, new weapon systems jury-rigged from mining lasers, and industrial cutters sprouted from what had once been observation decks. The entire ship seemed to breathe, its hull expanding and contracting slightly as the alien-human hybrid systems cycled through their operations. Standing on what had once been the bridge, Lee Taimin looked out at what they had created. It was ugly, it was dangerous, and it was completely unprecedented in galactic history. Most importantly, it was alive and it was angry. The creature that had once been the colony ship New Dawn drifted through space like a metallic predator, awakening from a long sleep. 6 months of desperate reconstruction had transformed the elegant vessel into something that defied every principle of spacecraft design known to galactic civilization. Where smooth hull plating had once reflected starlight, now angular armor segments shifted and moved like living scales, each piece responding to threats that sensors detected from light years away. Captain Lee Taimin walked through corridors that pulsed with bioluminescent veins of energy, the walls literally breathing round him as the ship's hybrid system cycled oxygen and power throughout its transformed body. The floors beneath his feet were no longer metal grating, but something that felt almost organic, responding to his footsteps with subtle shifts that helped him maintain balance even during the most violent maneuvers. Captain, the morning systems report shows some interesting developments, Park So-young called from her new tactical station. She no longer sat at a traditional navigation console, but instead interfaced directly with the ship through Agnorlink contacts that Dr. Yoon Hae-jin had developed using alien biotechnology. Her consciousness could merge partially with the ship's evolving intelligence, giving her awareness of every system and sensor array simultaneously. The bridge itself had become something out of a fevered dream. organic-looking consoles grew from. The floor-like strange coral formations, their surfaces covered in touch-sensitive membranes that responded to the crew's thoughts as much as their physical commands. Holographic displays floated in the air without any visible projectors, maintained by the ship's quantum field generators that had learned to manipulate light and matter at the subatomic level. The metamorphic armor completed another evolution cycle during the night shift. Park So-young continued, her voice carrying a note of wonder that never seemed to fade. Hull integrity is now 300% stronger than our original colony ship design. The ship literally grew new armor plating while we slept. Kim Woo-jin emerged from an access tunnel that hadn't existed the day before. His engineering uniform stained with bioluminescent fluid that the ship secreted when creating new components. His hands were covered in the same substance, which had proven to be an incredibly effective conductor for both electrical current and quantum energy fields. "The drive system is performing beyond all expectations," he reported, wiping his hands on a cloth that immediately began dissolving the alien secretions. "We're getting 97% efficiency from the quantum virus power source. The ship is literally eating space-time distortions and converting them into propulsion energy." The revolutionary drive system Kim had created was unlike anything in known galactic technology. Instead of fighting against the alien virus that had infected their systems, he had learned to feed it controlled doses of quantum energy. The virus consumed the energy and produced exotic matter that could warp space-time itself, allowing the ship to travel faster than light without traditional FTL drives. Dr. Yoon Hae-jin looked up from her research station, which had evolved into something resembling the living organism's nervous system. Nerve-like cables connected her directly to the ship's consciousness, allowing her to monitor and guide its evolution in real time. Her discoveries over the past months had rewritten humanity's understanding of technology, biology, and the nature of consciousness itself. "I've made another breakthrough in understanding the virus," she announced, her eyes glowing slightly with the same bioluminescent energy that powered the ship. "It wasn't just designed to destroy our systems or even to learn and adapt. It was meant to be a bridge away for different species to share technology and consciousness across the galaxy." She activated a holographic display that showed the virus's quantum structure in 3 dimensions. The pattern was incredibly complex, resembling both a computer program and a strand of DNA. The Velkar Syndicate didn't create this virus to kill us. They stole it from another species and corrupted it for their own purposes. But we've managed to restore its original programming. Security Chief Tang Du-hyun entered the bridge, his tactical armor now integrated with the ship's biomechanical systems. Fiber optic cables connected his helmet to data ports that had grown from the walls overnight, giving him access to every sensor and weapon system on the ship. His role had evolved from simple security to something more like an immune system for the living vessel. "External sensors are detecting some interesting activity," he reported. "The ship's new sensory organs can detect quantum signatures from almost a light year away. We're tracking several alien vessels in nearby systems, and they're definitely not friendly." The ship's sensory capabilities had grown far beyond anything human engineers had ever imagined. Instead of simple radar and visual scanners, the New Dawn Asterisk now possessed quantum-sensitive organs that could detect the emotional states of alien crews, analyze the molecular composition of distant planets, and even predict probable future events. Based on quantum probability calculations, the ship wants to hunt, Park So-young said suddenly, her neural link allowing her to feel the vessel's desires directly. "It's developed predatory instincts. It knows the Velkar are out there, and it wants revenge for what they tried to do to us." Lee Taimin placed his hand on the nearest biomechanical console. Feeling the ship's pulse beneath his palm, the vessel had developed something resembling emotions, and right now those emotions were focused on a single goal: making the aliens who had tried to murder 50,000 innocent humans pay for their crimes. The weapon systems have been evolving too, Kim Woo-jin added, pulling up tactical displays that showed the ship's new armaments. We started with mining lasers and industrial cutters. But the ship has been growing new weapons based on alien technology patterns it absorbed from the virus, plasma cannons that can adjust their frequency to penetrate any known shielding, quantum torpedoes that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, and something I'm calling reality scramblers that can actually rewrite the laws of physics. In localized areas, Dr. Yoon Hae-jin nodded, her research having revealed the true scope of what they had created. The ship isn't just learning from our experiences, it's learning from every quantum interaction it. As with the universe round, every photon that hits our hull, every gravitational wave that passes through our space, every subatomic particle that interacts with our fields teaches it something new. Communications officer Choi Min-ho worked at a station that looked more like a living creature's than any human technology. The ship had grown specialized organs for detecting and analyzing communications across the electromagnetic spectrum, and it could now intercept and decode alien transmissions from systems several light years away. Captain, I'm picking up chatter from Velkar patrol fleets, he reported. They're calling us the Terran abomination and the ship that should not exist. Apparently, word of our transformation has spread throughout their territory. They're scared. Lee Taimin smiled grimly. The aliens had tried to destroy humanity's first colony mission, expecting to find nothing but debris and frozen corpses when they returned to gloat over their victory. Instead, they had created something that challenged everything they thought they knew about technology, consciousness, and the nature of life itself. Take us to the Velkar border, he commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had guided his people through impossible odds. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity is not only still here, but that we've become something they never expected. The New Dawn responded to his command like a living creature accepting direction from its pack. Leader, the ship's biomechanical systems hummed with anticipation as exotic matter began flowing through its quantum drive systems. Space-time rippled around the vessel as it prepared to leap across the void, carrying humanity's anger and ingenuity toward an encounter that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Fleet Commander Xerus of the Velkar Syndicate floated in his command sphere aboard the dreadnought Eternal Dominion *. His 6 eyes focused on the tactical display showing the outer reaches of their territory. His elongated body rippled with satisfaction as sensor data confirmed what his scouts had reported: a single human vessel drifting in the void where their sabotage had left it months ago. Prepare salvage teams, Xerus commanded through bioacoustic clicks that his translator converted to standard galactic. The human contamination has finally ended. We shall strip their pathetic vessel for useful materials and display the remains as a warning to other lesser species. The Velkar patrol fleet consisted of 12 vessels, each bristling with plasma cannons and quantum disruptors that had subjugated dozens of worlds. Their sleek, blade-like ships moved through space with the confidence of a species that had never known defeat. They had been the galaxy's dominant power for over 1,000 years, crushing any civilization that dared to expand beyond its home system. Commander, the human vessel appears to be intact, reported Tactical Officer Vexthar, his voice carrying a note of confusion. Life signs are detected. The ship appears to be fully operational. Xerus's eyes narrowed to slits. Impossible. Our infiltrator corrupted every critical system. That ship should be a tomb. He activated the fleet's scanning rays, expecting to find a limbing wreck barely maintaining life support. What the sensors revealed made his blood freeze. The human Vessel that appeared on their displays bore no resemblance to the sleek colony ship they had sabotaged. Instead, a predatory nightmare hung in space before them, its hull covered in what looked like living scales that shifted and moved independent of the ship's motion. Weapon ports opened and closed like breathing holes, and the entire vessel seemed to pulse with an energy signature that their computers couldn't identify. Unknown vessel, you have entered Velkar space without authorization, Zirus transmitted, his voice carrying the authority of 1,000 conquered worlds. Prepare to be boarded for a salvage inspection. Any resistance will result in immediate termination. The response came immediately, transmitted on frequencies that their equipment should not have been able to detect. The voice was cold, controlled, but carrying an undertone of barely contained fury that made even the battle-hardened Velkar crucial. This is Captain Lee Timon of the human vessel New Dawn *. You tried to murder 50,000 innocent people, men, women, and children who never did anything to threaten you. Now you answer for that crime. Zirus clicked his mandibles in what passed for laughter among his species, humans. Still arrogant even in defeat, open fire. Teach them the price of challenging their betters. The Velkar fleet opened fire simultaneously, 12 ships unleashing enough plasma energy to vaporize a small moon. Brilliant beams of superheated matter crossed the void, converting on the New Dawn with pinpoint accuracy. The attack was perfectly coordinated, designed to overwhelm any defensive system known to galactic civilization. The plasma beam struck. The New Dawn's hull and simply disappeared. The ship's metamorphic armor rippled like water where the energy hit, each scale adjusting its molecular structure to absorb and redirect the incoming fire. But instead of dissipating the energy harmlessly into space, the armor began glowing with the same color as the Velkar plasma cannons. The ship was eating their attack and converting it into power for its own systems. Impossible, Zirus whispered, watching his fleet's most powerful weapons have no effect whatsoever. No ship can absorb that much energy without overloading. On the New Dawn's bridge, Lee Timon stood calmly as his ship learned from the alien attack. The biomechanical consoles round him pulsed with new information as the vessel analyzed the Velkar weapons down to the quantum level, understanding their construction, their weaknesses, and most importantly, how to counter them. The shippers, adapting to their weapons, Park So-young reported from her Neuralink station. It's not just absorbing the energy, it's learning how to reproduce it. We now have the complete specifications for Velkar plasma technology. Security Chief Dong Duhan coordinated the counterattack from his tactical center, which had evolved into something resembling a giant brain made of living metal. His consciousness merged partially with the ship's targeting systems, allowing him to track multiple enemy vessels simultaneously while calculating optimal attack. Hatton's weapons are locked and loaded, he announced. The ship wants to show them what real firepower looks like. The New Dawn's response was unlike anything the Velkar had ever encountered. Instead of the crude kinetic weapons or basic energy beams they expected from a primitive species, the human ship unleashed a coordinated barrage that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Quantum torpedoes phased through the Velkar shields as if they didn't exist, materializing inside enemy hulls before detonating with the force of miniature supernovas. Plasma beams that had been reverse-engineered and improved by the ship's alien-human hybrid systems cut through advanced armor like it was tissue paper. Most terrifying of all were the reality scramblers weapons that temporarily rewrote the fundamental constants of physics in localized areas, causing enemy ships to experience gravity reversals, time dilation, and matter phase shifts that tore them apart from the inside. Shields are down on all vessels, Vexthar screamed. The human weapons are ignoring our defensive systems completely. The first Velkar ship to fall was the destroyer Blade of Conquest *. Its hull simply came apart as quantum fields reorganized its molecular bonds, turning sophisticated alloys into basic elements that scattered into space like metallic snow. The crew never had time to scream. Xerus watched in horror as his fleet, the pride of the Velkar military, was systematically destroyed by a single human vessel that should have been dead months ago. All ships, retreat pattern Delta. Get us out of here. But escape was not an option the New Dawn intended to offer. As the surviving Velkar ships attempted to flee, they found their engines refusing to respond. The human vessel had grown electronic. Warfare capabilities that operated on principles their computers couldn't even detect, let alone counter. Invisible tendrils of quantum energy reached across space to caress enemy hulls, infiltrating their systems and turning their own technology against them. Engine core is overloading, reported Vexthar as his console exploded in showers of sparks. The humans are somehow controlling our ship remotely. Dr. Yoon monitored the electronic warfare assault from her binaural interface. Her consciousness partially merged with the ship's evolving intelligence. She could feel the alien computers crying out in terror as the New Dawn's viral weapons infected their systems, not to destroy them but to make them slaves to human will. The ship is learning their language, their culture, their technology. She reported with wonder, "Every system we hack teaches us more about their entire civilization. We're not just winning this battle, we're absorbing everything they know." Communications Officer Choi Min-ho intercepted the desperate transmissions the surviving Velkar ships were sending to their fleet command. The aliens were screaming about impossible weapons, about a ship that defied every law of physics they understood, about humans who had somehow become something far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. "Captain, they're calling us the Terran Abomination and the ship that devours stars," Choi Min-ho reported. "Their fleet command is ordering all ships to avoid human space at all costs." Lee Taimin watched the last Velkar vessel drift powerless through space, its crew trapped inside their own ship as the New Dawn's electronic warfare systems held them captive. The aliens who had tried to commit genocide against 50,000 innocent humans now floated helpless before the monster they had inadvertently created. "Broadcast this message on all Velkar frequencies," Lee Taimin commanded, his voice carrying across space to every alien vessel within a dozen light years. "This is what happens when you try to murder humans. We don't die quietly. We adapt. We evolve. And we become your worst nightmare. Consider this your only warning." The New Dawn turned away from the drifting hulks of the Velkar fleet, its biomechanical systems already beginning to incorporate new technologies learned from the battle. The ship had tasted alien blood and found it satisfying. But this was only the beginning of humanity's response to those who had tried to destroy them among the stars. The news traveled faster than light across the galaxy, carried by quantum communications, networks that connected thousands of worlds on every space station. In every alien capital, the same impossible story was being told and retold with growing terror. The humans were supposed to be dead. The Velkar Syndicate had made sure of that, yet somehow, impossibly, they had not only survived, but transformed into something that defied every law of physics known to galactic civilization. Trade Captain Ixathala of the Altarian Merchant Guild received the report while her cargo vessel was docked at the Nexus Station, the galaxy's largest commercial hub. Her forearms trembled as she read the intelligence briefing on her holographic display. The human colony ship had annihilated an entire Velkar patrol fleet without suffering so much as a scratch on its hull. "Change course immediately," she ordered her crew. "Cancel all shipments to sectors near human space. I don't care what the penalties are, I'm not taking my ship anywhere near those monsters." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy as word spread. The Terran abomination had become the most feared name in known space, spoken in whispers in the shadowy corners of alien cantinas and corporate boardrooms. Trade routes that had operated for centuries were suddenly abandoned, leaving entire star systems economically isolated rather than risk an encounter with the impossible human vessel. Deep in the hidden manufacturing bays of the New Dawn Dr. Yoon worked tirelessly on humanity's next evolutionary leap. The ship's biomechanical systems had learned to reshape matter at the molecular level, allowing them to construct new vessels using techniques that combined human engineering with alien biotechnology. Each new ship was grown rather than built, taking shape like a living organism developing in a womb of exotic matter and quantum energy. The Icarus is ready for initial testing. She reported to Captain Lee Timon as they stood in the vast manufacturing chamber. Before them, a sleek scout ship hung suspended in a web of energy fields, its hull shimmering with the same adaptive armor as its parent vessel. But this ship was different, smaller, faster, and designed for reconnaissance rather than direct combat. Show me what it can do. Lee Timon requested. Dr. Yoon activated the test sequence, and the Icarus simply vanished. Not cloaked or hidden, it had phased out of normal space-time, existing in a quantum state that allowed it to pass through solid matter like a ghost. Seconds later, it reappeared on the other side of the chamber, having passed directly through the New Dawn's hull without causing any damage. Quantum phase technology, Dr. Yoon explained with pride. The ship can exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. It can scout enemy positions, pass through their defenses, and gather intelligence without ever being detected. In another manufacturing bay, the heavy cruiser Prometheus was nearing completion. This vessel was designed for one purpose: to serve as humanity's hammer when subtlety wasn't required. Its weapon systems were based on the reality scramblers that had proven so effective against the Velkar, but scaled up to devastating proportions. Chief Engineer Kim Woojin ran his hands along the Prometheus's main cannon, feeling the quantum fields humming beneath its biomechanical surface. This weapon can rewrite the fundamental constants of physics across an entire star system, he explained to the gathered crew. Matter becomes energy, energy becomes matter, and anything caught in its field of effect simply ceases to exist according to the laws of our universe. But perhaps the most remarkable creation was the carrier ship Pandora, a vessel that challenged every concept of spacecraft construction. Rather than carrying smaller ships in traditional hangar bays, the Pandora could actually birth new vessels from raw materials it consumed. Asteroid fields became nurseries where the carrier would digest rock and metal, using the materials to grow new ships according to templates stored in its bioneural networks. Each new vessel learns from its siblings, Park So-yeon observed as she watched the Pandora consume a small asteroid and begin shaping it into a fighter craft. They share experiences through quantum entanglement, so every ship in our fleet benefits from the knowledge gained by any individual vessel. The Velkar Syndicate's response was predictable and desperate. Grand Admiral Korvex assembled the largest battle fleet in their history, calling in warships from every corner of their territory. Over 3,000 vessels gathered at the edge of human space, carrying enough firepower to sterilize entire worlds. The human contamination ends today, Korvex declared from the bridge of his flagship, the super dreadnought Galaxy's Edge We will not allow these abominations to spread their madness throughout civilized space. The Velkar fleet emerged from hyperspace expecting to face a single impossible ship. Instead, they found themselves confronting a nightmare beyond their comprehension. The New Dawn was no longer alone. Dozens of human vessels hung in space before them, each one unique, each one radiating power that their sensors couldn't properly measure. The battle that followed would be remembered as the moment galactic civilization changed forever. The Velkar attacked with precision formations that had conquered hundreds of worlds, unleashing coordinated barrages from weapons that could crack planets. But the human ships responded like a living organism, each vessel supporting its siblings. In ways that defied military doctrine, the Icarus phased through Velkar shields to plant quantum mines inside enemy hulls. The Prometheus rewrote the laws of physics around entire squadrons, causing their ships to implode as matter forgot how to maintain its atomic bonds. The Pandora consumed destroyed Velkar vessels and immediately began birthing new human fighters from their remains. Impossible. Grand Admiral Korvax screamed as his perfect battle lines dissolved into chaos. Our weapons have no effect. They're learning from every attack. Security Chief Zhang Duhayan coordinated the human fleet's movements from his binaural command center. His consciousness partially merged with the collective intelligence of all human vessels. He could see the battle from dozens of perspectives, simultaneously, anticipating Velkar tactics before they were even implemented. "They're trying to retreat," he reported to Captain Li Taimin. "Should we let them go?" Li Taimin considered the question as he watched alien ships fleeing in panic from weapons they couldn't understand. The humans could easily pursue and destroy every Velkar vessel. But what message would that send to the galaxy? Let them run, he decided, but make sure they carry our message back to their leaders. Humanity is no longer hiding in the dark corners of space. We've evolved, and we're not going away. The 3-day battle ended with the complete surrender of the Velkar Syndicate. Their grand fleet had been reduced to a handful of damaged vessels, carrying survivors who would spread word of humanity's impossible victory throughout the galaxy. The age of Velkar dominance was over, ended by the very species they had tried to exterminate. Communications Officer Choi Minho monitored the flood of transmissions that followed the battle's conquest. "Ian, Captain, we're receiving diplomatic overtures from 17 different species. The Altarian Merchant Guild wants to establish trade relations. The Crystalline Collective is offering a formal alliance. Even the hive mind of Proxima is requesting peaceful contact." Dr. Yoon Haijin smiled as she watched the political landscape of the galaxy reshape itself around humanity's new position. "They're not just afraid of us anymore. They're curious. They want to understand how we accomplished the impossible, Park." So Young plotted a course back toward Earth, where humanity's home world waited, unaware that their first colony mission had instead become the foundation of an interstellar empire. The journey home will take us through 12 different alien territories. We're going to meet a lot of new species along the way. Captain Li Taimin stood on his transform bridge, surrounded by biomechanical consoles that pulsed with the heartbeat of living ships. Round him, his crew, the humans who had refused to die quietly in the dark, prepared for a future none of them could have imagined when they first left Earth. The New Dawn and her sister ships turned toward home, carrying with them the knowledge that humanity would never again be dismissed as a lesser species. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson that would echo through the centuries. Try to destroy humans, and they'll just build something better from the wreckage of your ambitions. The age of human expansion among the stars had begun, not through conquest, but through the sheer stubborn refusal to accept defeat from the ashes of attempted genocide. Humanity had risen as something new, something unprecedented, something that would reshape the galaxy forever. The end.